This is the way I always dreamed it would be. The way that it is. Oh, baby, I can hear the music. Yes, you have found NH Unscripted. We are the music. I am your Beach Boys-like host, Ray Dudley. So happy to be out of bed. Coming to you from the YMCA-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. Now, you know the routine. Break out the transistor radios, fire up the Motorola, gather the kiddos around. And you know what? My wife chastised me for saying spam so much. She said, you got to change your diet. So we're on to SpaghettiOs, baby. We're going to have the SpaghettiOs later at the break. In the meantime, if you look at your transistor radio, there's two bands on there. One is called AM, one is FM. On the AM band, you'll find us at 1450 AM, 103.9 FM. Those are Concord-based, and 101.9 FM for the beautiful, beautiful souls in Manchester. Gosh, we love you folks down there. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. I'll give you a little bit more information about what goes on there later in the show. Meanwhile, I need to thank my sponsor, Lakes Region Fence in Guilford. I've been told there are certain things I should not say. However, you know, it's tax season, and you could probably like Clark from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, wondering what you're going to do with all of those newfound riches, baby. Yeah, look out your window, that World War II memorial that's falling down in the yard. Time to replace it. LRFence.com is their URL. You can go out there. They have reams and reams of photos of the wonderful work that they have done. That would be where I would have said something else. Not saying it today, though. Go out there, lrfence.com. We love lakesregionfence.com. Matt and his group, they do tremendous, tremendous work. We so appreciate them sponsoring NH Unscripted. I just want to make a real quick note. New Hampshire Opera Idol, the competition will be going on Sunday, April 28th. The Capitol Center for the Arts. Tickets are on sale now. The audience will be choosing the winners. All you operaites? What are you fanatics called out there? Anyway, it's an old man rambling. In the house with me today is Christopher Ouellette.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So glad you made the trip out here.
It was lovely.
Actually, it was a pretty nice day for a decent drive. So I have just kicked the door open by introducing you. Didn't tell anybody who you're from or anything yet. So why don't you just trudge on through that door? Tell us who you are, why you're here, what have you done?
I am Christopher Ouellette. I run Chesterton Stage Productions. We're in our 11th year? Yes, our 11th year.
What?
Yeah.
I did not. Honest to God, I went to your website. I would have thought you were like 2 years old. Seriously.
Thanks.
Seriously. I didn't know you were around that long.
Yeah. Well, 12 years ago, I wasn't doing anything with my degree, which is theater arts, speech, and film. And I was asked to do a play. And in my interview, I literally recommended other people. And I guess they were desperate. They hired me anyway. And
not probably the best career tip.
No. But it worked, so I can't deny it.
Guess.
And then we did The Princess and the Goblin at the Rochester Opera House, and it was a fantastic show. And then afterward, my daughter, who was 6 then, was like, could you do a play for me? And a Facebook status update later, we were doing a half-hour kids version of Beauty and the Beast with the cast was, I think, 12 to 4 was the youngest. And I have done 1 to 4 plays a year since then. And being grandiose, like, named the theater group immediately. And about a year ago, we became an official nonprofit. We have a board and everything.
Really?
And, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't get any of that from... Maybe I didn't do my research very well.
Or maybe I need to talk to the web manager. And
So give me a little bit of your backstory yourself. Oh, how did you even get involved with theater ever?
Just as a kid, like, I wasn't the major theater guy because I wasn't getting I wasn't very motivated in high school. And so I'd be like, I was wealthy man number 2 in A Christmas Carol and stuff like that. And then I did a lot of work with youth, and I was actually a youth pastor for a few years, things like that. And I often ended up incorporating theater and film and stuff in what I was doing. And just because of that, somebody heard something, and I was asked to direct a show for the Homeschool Theater Guild of New Hampshire, which is centered Rochester and Barrington. And they were making a big break away from Shakespeare. They'd only ever done Shakespeare to that point. But I've just always been interested in art and literature and performing, and then all of a sudden, here I was getting to do it, and it was just very exciting. And so,
dude, but so you've carved it. You went from like doing basically nothing to creating a group?
Yeah.
So there's like 200 theater groups in New Hampshire. You could have joined any one of them at any point. Okay, so what made you decide to create your own group? What was going on there?
Well, like I said, the original impetus was my daughter asking if she wanted to be in a play. And I was like, I've done stuff like that before. We rented the local school's auditorium and did Beauty and the Beast. And it was just, what I found after that was there were a lot of young kids looking for opportunities, and there wasn't a lot of opportunities for the very young. And I call it educational theater. As opposed to having acting classes, we're putting on a show, but I set up the rehearsal schedule such that I know we're going to take time to discuss how to act, how to create your character. We're going to do theater games as well. And especially at the beginning, while we're learning, about half the rehearsal is acting instruction. And then we move into the show. And I just like that a lot better than random. Like I've done, over the years, we've done just theater classes. Mm-hmm. And that works, and the kids got stuff out of it, but it wasn't as focused, at least for me.
Yeah.
And maybe that's it. I just need a story to be focused.
This is a very interesting structure. It's unique in a lot of ways. Okay, so let's back up just a few steps. You decide, your daughter asks you if she can be in a play. So you decide, well, I won't go find a group that's doing children's theater. I'll just invent one, create one.
Well, to give her credit, she did say, Daddy, can you do a play for me? Because I was the only director she knew.
Okay. The name is very specific of your...
Oh, Chesterton Stage Productions?
Yes. I am familiar with the name. I don't know how many other people are. Why don't you give us a little brief history about where the name came from, why you chose it, as opposed to just like Act 2 stage production?
Right. I am a huge fan of the writer G.K. Chesterton, and he was... he died right before World War II in England, and he was prolific. He wrote like every kind of writing. He is best known for creating the character Father Brown, and that, nothing to do with theater, but that character is also credited with saving the mystery novel, because prior to Father Brown, Sherlock Holmes was so popular, every single, and this is from other people's research, I haven't read this much, but every other mystery thing was a weirder Sherlock Holmes. And when G.K. Chesterton did this short little priest figuring out things different, it was like, oh, we don't have to do Sherlock Holmes. So he broke the mold, and other people felt the ability to do their own thing. But not where we were going. I'm prone to tangents.
We love rabbit holes here.
Excellent.
We thrive on rabbit holes.
Well, I am a huge fan of Chesterton. I'm also a fan of the way he looks at stories, the way he writes stories. He has a book of theology called Orthodoxy, and my favorite part is chapter 3, which is actually about fairy tales. And I so much like his attitude about story. Heard that before.
Yes. Time to put on our tap shoes. We're going to tap our way into a break. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I am your happy to be out of bed host, Ray Dudley. And I don't have socks on today. Heck no. You are listening because we are coming to you from the Hollywood squares-like digs of the WKXL studios. I will take the center square, 1450 AM, 103.9 FM, 101.9 FM for the beautiful blessed souls in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is the URL. We are talking theater. Christopher Ouellette is in the house. We're going to be right back. Time to get some SpaghettiOs. Every day with you, girl, is sweeter than a day before because you have found NH Unscripted. Yeah, we are coming to you from the Car 54-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. I'm your Tootie Muldoon-like host, Ray Dudley. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM. That's in Concord. 101.9 FM in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is the URL because, we're the cool kids on the block. And we are talking about Chesterton, G.K. Chesterton, and his influence on some very famous things, which some of you may know about. And Christopher Ouellette.
Yep.
This is a tongue twister today, I'll tell you. He's in the house talking about Chesterton Stage Productions. All right, my friend, finish the story. And
I really liked everything he had to say about story. I really liked his stories, and he seemed to like stories I did, like his books, The Man Who Knew Too Much. He makes direct reference to Dracula. He has a thing about how much he likes Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He said the most important book he ever read was George MacDonald's The Princess and the Goblin.
What?
And I was like, I love everything you do. I feel like if I hung out with you that, I don't know, he'd intellectually stump me after 5 minutes. And the other thing I really liked about him was, like, one of his best friends was George Bernard Shaw. And for those of you, who wrote Pygmalion, which most people know became My Fair Lady. But G.K. Chesterton was like a 400-pound Catholic classical liberal, and George Bernard Shaw was a skinny vegetarian socialist atheist. They had nothing in common, and most of their writing involves making fun of each other, but they were great friends, and I just love the fact that, like, he and Shaw both believed very strongly what they believed. They had conviction, but that didn't divide them. They were still friends, and that was something I don't see a whole lot these days, but I just love the fact that he could write a book called Orthodoxy and then write another book called Heretics, and still, like, Heretics has a chapter called George Bernard Shaw, and they are friends.
Really? He went there with that? He did that?
Because actually, most of the people in that book complimented it because they were like, right, I totally disagree with the orthodoxy you preach. Thank you for noticing. Like, I'm glad you understood my book.
Wow.
Yeah. And I love that kind of openness. And then, so we ended up naming it Chesterton Stage Productions. And at the time I was working, doing some remote secretary work for the comic book writer Ethan Nicole. He wrote Axe Cop and Bearmageddon. And that was ending. He's like, do you need any artwork? Because I want to do some thank yous. So if you...
That's where that came from out there.
He drew Chesterton riding the bird. And
wow.
Yeah. And we just kept going. We had this idea. Essentially, I say we're creating community around great stories. And I try to keep everything very positive. I also, we don't want sniping about who's got what part and stuff like that. And we also, I am doing youth theater. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that bothers me is when you see youth theater and it's terrible. So, not that happens a lot, and I've seen a lot of really great productions, like, what is it? The Pine Street Players at Christ Church in Exeter. Like, they do stuff that rivals professional shows I've seen.
Really?
And yeah, they're really good. And, I just saw Godspell, one of my friends, Gwen Butler, who is in our group. She was just in that for the teen group, and it was fantastic.
I like Godspell.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah.
And they did it wonderful. So one of the things I really wanted to make sure with my group is that, like, we're doing shows that are entertaining. Like, if we're going to make an adult sit through this... I want it to be fun, and I want it to be well done. Yeah. And I think that's something I feel very proud of, that we've been successful. I did Winnie the Pooh. Like, we did a show called In Which Winnie the Pooh Makes a Friend. And that was 7 years old to 12 years old on the stage. And I had adults telling me what a great time they had watching the show. People who were not related to anybody in the cast. And that's a goal of mine. I really like that.
So so Chesterton Stage Productions, you consider to be a youth group rather than an adult organization?
Yeah, I am open to doing shows with people over 19, but I haven't done it yet.
So your last show, Magic, that was all youth?
Yes. Actually, I've done Magic twice now, and the first time I remember someone coming up to me and saying that they realized by the second act they'd forgotten they were watching teenagers.
That is interesting.
Yeah, and it's great because I don't know how many of you know Magic, but that was written by G.K. Chesterton. So
give
obviously,
the full title so that people know what the...
Magic, a fantastical comedy, which actually his was called a fantastic comedy. We changed it to fantastical because it's supposed to be the magic element, and people would think we were just bragging. So, it has characters, like if you've read C.S. Lewis, you see he does a lot of characters where they are fully fleshed out characters, but they each kind of represent a worldview or an idea. And this is the same sort of thing. I actually often say that C.S. Lewis wrote George MacDonald stories with G.K. Chesterton characters.
Oh, interesting.
But that's what this was. So we would discuss in detail, like, this is the worldview of this character. While you're this character, this is what you're putting forth. And this is who your character is. This is what they're feeling. Like, we would attack it from both sides. And it's great because some of these kids, like my daughter is now 17 and she got to be the lead in this.
I was just going to mention or drop in. I happened to see the cast list.
Yeah.
And I noticed a familiar last name.
Yes. But she has been really great. There has not been nepotism, which I've been proud of. Because she, like for years, actually, she'd audition for the lead and she'd get second fairy. Because that's where she was. I think the first time she auditioned for a character and got the one she auditioned was, she was 8 years old, and it was the first time we did Pooh, and she was Piglet. But it was a while before she got an actual lead. And yeah.
We can't all be poos.
No, not everybody's poo, but but yes, she was
My
Patricia
13-year-old
in
boy
Magic.
humor. Oh my God.
But it was great because I'm working with all these kids and they are asking really deep questions about their character because that's the level we're bringing it. And like, I was getting reactions from the show, not only about how great their acting was, how nice the costumes looked, the set looked, like it was a fun, entertaining show. I was also hearing about, wow, this is making me think about this, I love this connection. And it was great that they were able to bring out a performance that caused people to think beyond, oh, that's good, he said the line. You know?
Yeah.
And that's something like, I mean, whether it's Chesterton Stage Productions or Pine Street or anywhere else, just like I think there's often a stigma like, oh, it's teens.
Right.
Or it's kids.
Yeah.
And I mean, find out a little about the theater group because, I mean, there are really good actors out there who are teens and they are doing great things.
So was there actual magic in the play?
Definitely.
There
like
was.
Lights changed colors, pictures moved, chairs moved, a bowl of live goldfish was produced, and we're still taking care of them at our house. But yeah. Oh, good timing.
Put a pin in it right there. Woo! We are getting deep, and I have so many questions. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I am your host with the pajamas on, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Taj Mahal-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM, 101.9 FM for the glorious souls in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. We are coming back and talking about Chesterton Stage Productions. And we might have some, who knows, maybe some SpaghettiOs. Baby. Baby, I think I got some spaghetti sauce on my shirt. Big wheels keep on turning, and NH Unscripted keeps on burning, baby. I am Ray Dudley, your Ike and Tina Turner-like host, coming to you from the WKXL studios in Concord. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM. Yes, those are Concord-based. 101.9 FM for Manchesterites. I'm guessing that's what you all call down there. NHTalkRadio.com is the URL, and that is where you can find a button to listen to the show live. Listen to NHTalkRadio.live streaming, or you can find all of the archives of this almost award-winning show, plus all of the other great programs here at the studio. We're talking GK Chesterton, as well as some other things. I got a lot of questions for Christopher here. Christopher,
yes.
Finish this story about no nepotism, but your daughter's doing great, and she wanted to be Winnie the Pooh, but you wouldn't let her.
That was pretty much it. Like, she works really hard, and sometimes she's the lead princess, and sometimes she's the mayor worm of Wormville. And she knocks it out of the park, whether she's wearing a dress and Maid Marian or whether she's slimy and
Maid
wormish.
Marian, my God.
Yeah, that we did Robin Hood at the Rochester Opera House, and that was incredible. That show went so well.
So you just finished this past weekend?
Yes.
The show?
Yes, Magic was this weekend.
How did it go?
It went wonderful. Like, it was a fantastic show. Like, I don't know. I love it because I'm so happy I saw it. Like, I was doing it the whole time, and then it happened. I'm like, I am watching this. This is great.
So, you performed. It was performed at the Rochester Opera House.
No, Robin Hood was. Okay. This is at the Heritage Chapel stage. There is a church in Rochester, Emmanuel Church, and I at one point needed a rehearsal space and was referred over there, and they have this heritage chapel that they used to use, and for some reason it wasn't a box, it was made acoustically with it's really nice.
That's rare.
But they had the like choir type stage, and we rehearsed there for Robin Hood, and and a couple others, actually Gilbert's Guide to Elfland Excursions. Yeah.
Where are these titles coming from?
I like long titles.
Apparently.
But we were going to do Coraline at a theater, and it fell through, and they let us perform there at the Heritage Chapel, which sounded good, but the stage was off. And the church there thinks art is important. That was a terrible sentence, but they do. And I met with the pastor once, and I'm like, hey, if our group raised money, could we put a stage in there? And his response was, no, don't do that. I'm like, oh, okay. And then he's like, yeah, I talked with the elders this morning, and we decided that we have this music program and we have your theater group, so we should add a stage. And so they did it for us.
So no car washes.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
And so that's where we perform most of our shows right now, and it's a fantastic location. Like we did, we have not used mics other than when we did Coraline the musical. We used mics for the music numbers, but that was it.
Wow. So quickly give out your URL while we're ChestertonSP.com.
Okay,
what will they find out there?
And they'll find, essentially it's a blog-like format with what we're doing and things about how we are, our philosophy and things like that. And then there's little sections for each of the shows and when we're getting ready. And then if they click on tickets and, I forgot the other word. Well, the word tickets and registrations. That's where you can find tickets for upcoming shows, or if you want to register a young person for a show, that's there as well, which in June, we're doing our first day camp. We're going to do 2 weeks, and we're going to do Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Ooh, nice.
And yeah, I love that show. I actually did not like Alice until my daughter Eowyn, when she was 5, had read the book and explained to me why it was good. And I'm like, oh, you're right. I've been looking at this totally wrong. And so we did Alice. And we're doing it again. And the cool thing is Alice is that show. It's Alice just talking to every character. So she's on the stage for an hour plus. And the other characters each get their own scene, and there's the big scene at the end where they fight the Jabberwocky. And so we have an older girl, Annalise. She's been, she was in Midsummer. She was in Robin Hood. She's great. She's going to be Alice. So she's already
Have you told your daughter? Have you broken the news to your daughter?
Actually, my daughter's going to help direct.
Oh,
yes.
Take it over the reins.
And so then the group is going, we're going to do this day camp. We're going to cast it with the younger kids, like I said, 9 to 12-year-olds. And then they'll have this solid actress to work off of and be encouraged and learn about theater, and at the end put on a show they can be proud of. And then we're working on putting together a teen improv class over the summer. And in September, we're going to start the Nutcracker and Mouse King, which is going to be a straight play based on the book as informed by the ballet. When I originally conceived that, it was going to be nothing to do with the ballet.
Yeah.
And there's a ballet company, Safe Haven Ballet. They are amazing. And I worked with Lissa, who runs that, for Mary Poppins. I was directing, she was doing the dancing, and she asked me to be Drosselmeyer in the Nutcracker, and now I'm just in love with the ballet. And so it's now informed by the ballet as well.
I have seen the ballet in Boston. I am not a fan of it. I think it's just me. It's my arrogant old man ways.
Well, forget Boston. Check this Christmas, check out the Safe Haven Ballet Nutcracker. If you know ballet, you will be impressed. And if you've never seen ballet, you'll be able to follow it. They have Drosselmeyer come out at the beginning of both acts and do a monologue.
Oh.
So all their ballets have a character do a monologue before each act. So it's not telling you the story, but the monologue is written in such a way that, I get what's going on.
Is it some kind of exposition? What's the purpose
It usually
of it?
is.
Yep.
The purpose is to introduce the character, and so that if you are unfamiliar with the language of ballet, which I was, you can understand the story. It gives you just enough that as things play out, you're recognizing what's going on, but it's written in such a way that it's a entertaining monologue. It's not like, now let's stop for a class on ballet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are excellent. Actually, since we're talking about them, the other cool thing about them is not only are they the height of like athletic and artistic talent,
aren't we all?
Yeah. I might have thought that one day before I saw these people. I've been around sports all my life. Being backstage with those ballet dancers, like they'd be on stage smiling and having the greatest time of their life, and they step off for a second, catch their breath because they've just exerted more energy than I will this month.
Yeah.
But they use their money to provide free dance, art, and exercise classes that are trauma sensitive for people who are survivors of violence.
What?
Yeah. Like, it's an amazing group. I just love the fact that they're doing great art and literally helping humanity. Like,
that's above and beyond giving back to the community.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they're a fantastic group. I had no interest in ballet prior to knowing them, but
man.
Yeah.
So, do you hold auditions, or do you not? You just cull from the kids who show up?
When we do the educational theater things, the kids who come will get a part. We do hold auditions. You do. Because I want to see where people are.
It's not just your daughter always.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make that clear.
No. She auditions too.
And, sure. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I get it. Yeah.
Hey.
It's all family here.
She was servant duck in Beauty and the Beast. She wanted to be Beauty. But, we do auditions so we can see where people are and what part is going to fit them. Because I am actually really good at casting and getting people into a part that's going to work for them, because I want them to be successful for them and for the audience. The other thing is, I could just kind of get to know them and give them parts, but if they're going to move on, they're going to have to do an audition. So I want them to get that experience so it's not scary. And does that mean we dance now?
We do. Put on your tap shoes. We got to tap out to a commercial, make some money for this place. Whew. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I am your always happy to be out of bed host, Ray, escaping from the home one more time. You are listening to NH Unscripted on 1450 AM or 103.9 FM in Concord, 101.9 FM in Manchester, or maybe you went out to our URL, nhtalkradio.com, and hit that button to listen live. We are talking theater, deep theater, things I love to hear about. We're going to be chatting some more right after we spill some more SpaghettiOs on us. Maybe we might even have some ding, ding, ding rice-a-roni, baby. We'll be right back. We are getting by with a little help from our friends, using the Joe Cocker version, of course. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I am your Joe Cocker-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the monk-like conditions of the WKXL studios in Concord. I can hear the little sounds of the bells in the background. I can smell the incense. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM in Concord. 101.9 FM in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. You know, if you thought I was good looking, you ought to see the guy across the table from me. Holy moly. That's a beautiful mustache, my friend.
Well, thank you.
It looks like it's been cultivated for quite a while.
I've been working on it, yeah.
And he had a straw hat. He has it with him. Look at that. He is dressed to the nines, I'll tell you.
I actually, when researching for the outfit for Morris in Magic. The first time I did it, I was like, oh, wow, that's where those hats came from. And he would have been wearing one of those. And, that's kind of cool.
Looks like something out of the Music Man.
Yes.
My gosh. Anyway, so auditions for your shows.
We do auditions in that when we do the educational theater, people register. The kids who register are in the show. But we still have auditions for two reasons. One, I want to see where they are and what kind of characters they might be able to hit. So that way they are getting the best experience for them, and we're also going to give the audience the best experience. And I want to see, even if they've been in shows with me before, I like them to audition so I can see how they've grown. Like Annalise, who I was telling you is going to be Alice, she was doing more background parts and she was doing really well with them. But when we auditioned for Robin Hood, I'm like, oh, you're a different person. You have totally taken this to a huge new level. And she got a major part in Robin Hood, and she got one of the leads in Midsummer, and she's just it's exciting because, she's been there since she was little and getting background parts.
That is such an interesting thought and point. I had never given it any time. So, as adults, we audition and we are who we are, pretty much.
Yep.
We're set in stone. But a young child, they grow older, they're learning about the world, they're learning about, who they are, and they can actually be very different in 2 or 3 years' time.
Yes.
Vocally, height, all
Yes.
of that. And as they discover that, they can bring in a whole different perspective. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's wonderful to watch, because you see people grow, and there's a handful of kids who have been, I've known them now since they were little, 10 years ago, and they are now doing major parts that other people would have got when they started. And it's great to see people, I know she in particular put in a ton of work to her audition, where in the past she had memorized something, came and recited it, which that's great. That is a step. But she took it on herself to go even further. So that's great. And the other reason we do auditions is I am good at casting, and I could probably get to know the kids and spare them that.
Yeah.
But I think there is a stigma around auditions that more come from TV shows, plays, and movies about theater, because you need conflict. But that seems to be one of the things that keeps people away from doing other shows. And I want people to be able to learn acting, do a great show, be successful, but I want it transferable if they want to do a show somewhere else. So
do you encourage them? Do you actually give them tips and
Yes.
You do?
Yes. I have.
So it's not just an audition, it's actually kind of
it's part of the training.
Yeah.
And I know I've I remember talking to one girl. For her audition, she picked The Grinch That Stole Christmas, and she did great. She got a part, and then I saw her acting later, and I told her, I'm like, listen, you would have got a bigger part if you had picked something else as your audition, because The Grinch, the performance is written in the words. You can have a really great Grinch or a bad Grinch. I realized there's a range, but I didn't see it. I let her know I didn't see as much of her in it. I also, a popular thing to do is something from a movie. Mm-hmm. And I encourage kids away from that because, I saw a really good actor.
So they're not doing parts from Casino.
No. No.
The De Niro or,
Well, one kid did the hospital scene from The Dark Knight with the Joker, and it was he did a fantastic rendition of Heath Ledger's Joker. So it's you are a good actor, but I don't know you. I know all the choices Heath Ledger made. So I do talk to them about that, and because I want them to be successful. I want them to be able to go and get another part. And I've had many kids, some of them, they try theater and they like it, and now they're going to go to medical school or whatever.
Yeah.
And others are like, I'm going to keep doing this, and they're getting parts. Like I mentioned, the Rochester Opera House Godspell had some of ours. I know Garrison has had some, and I like when they're in another show on our Facebook page, I'll put links to get tickets to those shows because I still want to support these people. It's part of the community aspect of it.
Community. It's all about community. It
Yeah.
really is. It really is. We encourage a lot of people just to go to everything.
Yeah.
Get out of the house. Good grief. I mean, there's so much diversity
There
out
are
there.
so many shows.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And there's not usually a whole lot of overlap. I mean, there's unless the professional seasons have found something that they can all like hang their hat on, like Mamma Mia.
Right.
But what the heck? So talk about some more about the shows coming up. So one is in
June.
Okay, and that's with the high school?
No, June is going to be the 9 to 12-year-olds, and that's going to be Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Got you.
And then we'll start in September. It will play in December, but early December because I want to beat the ballets. But the Nutcracker and the Mouse King, and that's going to be educational theater 13 to 19. Or maybe it's 12 to 19. I should know this.
You should, shouldn't you?
Yeah, but
All the trick questions you bring up.
yes. And that's like I said, that's going to be a straight play, though there will be a dance in it, and it's going to be a great time. And there's going to be kids who have been doing this for a decade, and there's going to be kids who this will be their first show, and often by the time we hit the stage, most of the audience wouldn't be able to pick out, oh, yeah, that's their first time, because they've learned their part. They've learned about acting, and they've stepped up to it. I see it again and again.
That's
it's
impressive
fantastic.
if that's true, because you know, you see smaller kids or whatever, you watch them play baseball.
Yeah.
They're standing out in the outfield, looking at the birds, throwing grass up in the air. No idea they're even in a game, basically. But if that's true that you would go and watch them perform and not really know it's like their first time,
Yeah.
dude, that says a lot.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Like I said, like I often at the end of the show, I'm like, I got to see that. Like it's beyond just having worked on it, which makes it mean more to me. But like, they're fun shows, and these kids do such an awesome job. And like I said, there are groups doing youth theater that's on the level of professional shows I've seen. So,
Man. Did you say that in the Nutcracker you got the boot and Carrie L is now taking your...
well, I had
Carrie
a
L.
family emergency and then got a job that my schedule messed up. But yes, I was sad that I was not Drosselmeyer, but then when I found out that they got Carrie L, it's like, you need to go with the big guns to replace me. I felt honored.
It's an upgrade,
yeah,
baby.
she's fantastic.
I
Yeah.
know. I love that girl. Oh my God. Well, woman,
Yeah.
she has her own family going over there.
Yes.
So give us your URL one more time, because I know we're going to run out of time here.
ChestertonSP.com for Chesterton Stage Productions.
Your board. How supportive are they? What's happening with the board? Because I know a lot of times boards, they can be either very just out of sight, out of mind, and they're like there to help. But there's other boards who can be like, no.
Oh,
Are we serious? I was in the middle of a thought. Well, that doesn't happen often.
I like
Son
my
of a
board.
gun.
I'll just tell you that.
You got
this
that
has been
in.
great.
Give us your information one more time, Christopher.
Chesterton Stage Productions at ChestertonSP.com, or search it on Facebook, Instagram, X.
There's a kind of hush all over the world as NH Unscripted screeches to a halt once again. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM. Those are Concord 101.9 FM in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is the URL, and I am your Green Acres like host, Ray Dudley. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate you coming out here.
Thank you.